Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel OP Society, and this is another in-depth review, and for this edition we're doing Marineford Shanks. Let's begin. Shanks is a blue attacker. He's the second character with Extreme Legend tag under his belt. Before I go in depth with this character, let's get the stats and skills out of the way. Shanks has 8,619 HP, 2,332 attack, which is currently the highest in the game, 2,011 defense, and 11% critical. There is an interesting observation that I would like to point out. Shanks' defense is 2011, which is the year when Shanks appeared to stop the war in the anime. I want to believe that Bandai left this little Easter egg on purpose, and it's not just a coincidence. But moving on, let's talk about Shanks' skills. Skill 1 is I have come to put an end to this war. This attack has a 33 seconds cooldown and a 2-step counter. When the counter succeeds, the character releases a mid-range attack with a knockback effect and HP recovery. When the counter fails, a short-range attack is released and the character gains invincibility when releasing the attack. When successful, this attack has 824 power points and a recovery of 150 points. When the attack fails, it has a 377 power points and no knockback effect. Skill 2's name is Griffin Slash. This is a long-range attack with a wide spread and the ability to lower the enemy's defense by 10% for a long 20 seconds. Griffin Slash has a 44 seconds cooldown and 750 power points. I will go more in detail with the skills later in the video. Like Blackbeard, Shanks has an extreme attack team boost. While it is not specified how much it increases the attack by, my guess is 50%, while the regular increase is 30%. Switching to traits, Shanks' traits are pretty good. His character trait nullifies stun. Trait number 1 reduces skill 1's cooldown by 50% when the team has less treasure capture. It also reduces skill 1's cooldown by 50% and increases defense by 30% when knocking out an enemy. When your HP is 70% or higher, your attacks cannot be interrupted, thanks to the stagger effect. Trait number 2 increases attack by 20% every time you knock out an enemy, and you can stack it up to 100%. His damage output also increases by 30%, and you cannot be one-shotted if you have more than 50% HP, unless you have exactly 1 HP. Shanks' boost rate has a 3% chance of inflicting stun when dealing damage to an enemy, which can be deadly on a 1 vs 1 combat. Now, all of his traits and stats are pretty OP, but in practice, is this character any good? Alright, let's break this down a little bit. Shanks' normal attack string has a 4 hits, which are pretty slow and weak compared to other units. His normal attack string is low, and it feels flimsy and odd. It is a major flaw about this character in my opinion. His skill 1 is pretty strong, but it has to be timed properly. Definitely a plus if you're in a short range combat against multiple enemies. When you knock out 2 enemies, the cooldown of the attack is reduced to 0, thanks to a 50% cooldown trait. Skill 2 is also powerful, but it has a long activation time. It is very useful when targeting multiple enemies from afar, but in close range combat, it is pretty useless. I wish he had a speed boost to corner enemies like Dofi, but sadly he doesn't. This character requires some level and skill, and it takes a while getting used to his mechanics. I think Shanks is the opposite of Blackbeard. Blackbeard is a machine of mass destruction that requires minimum skills to destroy enemies, while Shanks has to gain his way up by defeating enemies and increasing his boost, and then he becomes a killing machine. Shanks can be easily defeated with characters like Kaido, Gear 4 Luffy, and Stampede Sabo. Fighting against Blackbeard can be difficult. If you have no boost activated, I would say you have a 50% chance of beating a Blackbeard. If he's outside of his captured treasure, then it's more of an 80%. My estimates are subject to my own opinion, but I think it's the best way to represent a real match between those two. How about we summarize Shanks with a little pros and cons list? For the pros, we have really strong skills. When used properly, endless skill 1, multiple attack boosts, and small HP recovery. Highest attack stat in the game, ability to nullify stun, chance to inflict stun. And for the cons we have terrible normal attack string, long activation time on skill 2. He is extremely hard to get and level up, and the fact that he doesn't fit everyone's fighting style. In conclusion, I hope I didn't discourage you with my review, because Shanks is an amazing unit. Without a doubt, he's the best blue attacker in the game. It does take some time and practice to adapt to his fighting style, but once you do, he's pretty fun to use. Should you scout for Shanks? Well, if you're a reckless fighter, don't get him. This character requires patience and some skill. I would say he's a good mix of a Green Runner Ace, Whole Cake Island Sanji, and Wano Zoro. If you like 2 of those 3 characters, then chances are you're really going to like Shanks. There are some leaks of a Sengoku that might appear in the future. If you don't like Shanks, then wait for another unit. I would rate this character a 9.2 out of 10, which is 0.1 less than Kaido. The reason being is that Shanks has little to no durability in combat, and he's not a ready to use out of the box type of character. He feels more like a regular Bounty Fest unit and not an Extreme Legend one. After Blackbeard, my expectations for Extreme Legends were set really high. But with the release of Shanks, I realized that not everything that shines is made out of gold. Okay everyone, with this I conclude my Shanks review. I hope you like it. If you would like to see any other type of videos, feel free to drop some suggestions down in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.